We really appreciate your time and sharing with us about your organization. So, how did it get started?
About 15 years ago, I was involved in Achnasas Kala, and I was getting a lot of calls to help Kalas. And in the conversation, they would say things like, you can't imagine, the Kala really needs help. They barely have food to put on their table. What does that mean? Let's be real. We're living in Borough Park in the 2020s with there's all these incredible organizations. It really didn't sit well with me.
Let me make sure I understand. At the time, you had started a Hafnasis Kala initiative, and when people called to get help for a Kala, it really bothered you that they would mention the lack of food. Okay, so then what?
I did my research about it. I didn't want to go into this blindly. I didn't like this having to be careful with the food that we serve is not something that any Jewish mother wants to do. So after a lot of investigating, I reached out to a very dear friend. We met. I told her the situation, and I told her all that I had learned. And I said, let's take the information that we know and let's work with it. How about we make it a personalized Tomchi Shabbos concept?
So, since you were busy with Kalas, you were looking for someone to run this one. Okay, got it. Continue.
There's a lot of buildings in Borough Park, a lot of apartment buildings, a lot of condos, and we approached people there and we asked them if they would be willing to be a group leader. And the group leader was in touch with the mother of the family that would be receiving the food.
Why would you want the group leader to speak to the mother who needs the food? Why not keep it completely anonymous?
We felt that this would be helpful. First of all, she could find out exactly what do you need? You got grade 2s last week, you still have left over. Do you want something else instead? Is there a certain brand that you like or dislike? Is there anybody in your family that's allergic to certain foods? What snacks do they like? So we felt that having that connection was helpful in making sure that there was no baltashkes.
I hear. It makes sense. What else?
We also felt that if she was going through a crisis like this, it's hard for the mother, and maybe she needs to talk to somebody about it, and maybe she feels uncomfortable reaching out. So here she would have a person that she can, speak to, that would be understanding, that would be caring. And actually, although this has happened many years ago, like I said, over 15 years ago, some very strong, wonderful, warm, and caring relationships have evolved. Even from families that are no longer getting food, they have still kept up that close friendship.
Your first step was finding a group leader and connecting her with the mother of a family that needs help with food. What was the next step?
The group leader reached out to the people in her building. Most of this was done in buildings, or to the people in her block. And by now she had a list, a very personalized list of what she had spoken to the mother about, what the mother felt she needed.
How did the group leader contact her volunteers?
Either in a group text or a group chat, or if there was no texting, or she would reach out to the people and she would say, "Oh, you're doing your grocery shopping anyway. Would you feel comfortable adding in another loaf of bread, another a Shabbos snack for a different family, a bag of beans, a bottle of orange juice?" Just actually taking this large grocery order and dividing it between her volunteers. It wasn't too overwhelming for the family. This was something that was very doable. So the mother is doing the grocery shop. If somebody's doing the grocery shopping in the house, one additional item is not so difficult. They didn't have to travel to drop it off anywhere. It was right there. They can easily send a young child, or they themselves could drop it off. It was a very doable way of keeping something long term.
It sounds like you felt it was very important to create something easy, doable, and sustainable.
Sometimes chesed is something that's just needed as a one-time thing, raising money for a one-time situation. But most of the time, it's something that needs more. It's longer lasting, and we wanted something that would be longer lasting. I walk in the street today and I meet people that say, "Oh my gosh, we're still doing it. I'm still donating, I'm still giving my one item." And I think it brought about like a sense of community, a sense of achdus, a sense of feeling of I'm part of something greater.
It sounds so simple. Groups of people, each buying one food item, dropping it off by the group leader in their building or on their block. What are some challenges you encountered?
One thing that comes to mind is The group leader called me. She was very distressed. She said that the woman wanted 49 chocolate lemons because she had 7 children. They each had 1 chocolate lemon for breakfast. And if you do 7 times 7, that's 49. She's like, first of all, 49 chocolate lemons is a lot of money. Second of all, why is she giving chocolate lemons for breakfast? That is not a healthy breakfast. That doesn't feel, nobody's getting full from it. Like, I really do not want to give 49 chocolate lemons to this woman. And she had a point, and that was something that we needed to address. Sometimes we would get like these requests, and there were times where I actually had to call and ask the Shiloh, like the famous thing, how you're supposed to give meat to somebody who's used to eating meat. But what happens if you give them the meat that they want and then you lose your volunteers in the process, and then they'll get nothing? So there were a lot of shallots that used to come up. It wasn't so smooth and straightforward all the time.
Interesting. Anything else?
The group leaders who formed these connections with the mothers would call me and say, the mother just told me that Yontiv is coming and she's grateful that she has food, but she has no shoes for the kids, or there's a leak in the house. And then all of a sudden, we realized that we were getting involved in something much bigger. So then what? How much could we do? How much are we responsible to do? When we get information about a family that is really in a desperate situation, we came in wanting to help with food, and then all of a sudden it grows into something so much bigger.
How did you handle it?
Most of the time we reached out and asked Tyra what we should do, what we shouldn't do, when we should get involved, when we shouldn't get involved.
What do you consider to be one of the most significant aspects of this initiative?
I was not involved on a day-to-day basis. In other words, every group leader was in touch with her group. I think that's what made it so successful, that we had many group leaders all over. It wasn't just this one person who was busy constantly that had to run it on a daily basis.
Did these dozens of groups interact with each other?
One day, I turned to my friend and I said, I feel we should bring our people together. We have like hundreds of volunteers by now from all the buildings, and all they know is that they're buying their own bag of cholent beans and throwing it into the box. We did an event, and I remember we had no idea how many people were coming. And I remember the doors opening and people just kept on pouring in. And before you knew it, we had 100 people in the room. And what was so beautiful was that everybody kept on looking around and saying the same thing. I thought that I was just doing my one thing. I was going shopping anyways. I'm buying another loaf of bread. I didn't realize that I'm part of something so big. And I think that being part of Klal Yisrael is so big, because it's not just, we're not individuals. We're part of Klal Yisrael, and we're lucky to be there.
So there are hundreds of boxes being delivered to different communities around the world. Each item in every box was purchased by an individual while she was doing her grocery shopping. Such a small act with such a huge impact. What's your final message?
This, my friends, is how together we can change the world.